money that goes to the consolidated fund should fund the budget. You cannot take money from the consolidated fund to fund another fund. If you want to set up a fund, you exclude that money from the consolidated fund, not what we are having here. And I've just said that the Hustler Fund is funded by the Exchequer annually through the budget, through allocations from the Treasury. So, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with the failure to adhere strictly to the edict within the Constitution. We have a whole chapter 12, on public finance. Public finance is not a constituting issue. It's a technical issue that should not be in a constitution. But because of the mischief and the history of this country, the framers of the Constitution decided to include public finance in the Constitution as a constituting principle to ensure that we don't suffer the mischief. And you know, 201, Article 201 demands, it gives us the general principles and demands transparency, accountability, and all those things, proper use of money and stuff, and also looking after the future. So, we are dealing with this. And now when we come to money, why is this possible? Because the original sin against this Constitution, again, is in the Public Finance Management Act, Section 11, which says that the National Treasury, because under Article 225, Clause 1, it is a requirement that Parliament will set up, by an Act of Parliament, will establish the National Treasury. We don't have an Act of Parliament establishing a National Treasury. We have the National Treasury established as part of certain legislation. There is no Act of Parliament establishing the National Treasury. And the National Treasury is the power of the purse. And the power of the purse is supposed to reside in Parliament, not in the executive. But what does Parliament do in Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act? It says the Treasury is composed of A, the Cabinet Secretary, responsible for finance, B, the PS, and C, the department or departments. Now, who appoints the CS? The President. Who appoints the PS? The President. Do they have security of tenure? No. At whose pleasure do they serve? At the President's pleasure. So who is the treasurer? It's the President. And that is what we call the Imperial presidency. When you have a man holding the sword and the cake, then you have an imperial president. The design of our Constitution is that Parliament should be holding the cake and the President should be holding the sword. Then they can negotiate. So that if my MP, like Honorable Wanjala, who is my MP from Busia, wants to see the waterways in Bunyala, which are all clogged and messed up and resulting in a lot of flooding, he wants to see those things cleared. And he wants to ensure that there is a dredger doing that work. Honorable Wanjala should not go and bow to the President. He should go to Parliament and lobby his peers and say, in the next budget, I have this problem, can you ensure that we do that? But because you have given the President the knife and the cake, today resources are allocated on the basis of proximity to power. And you heard them the other day, even right now, they are saying that ODM, by virtue of ODM joining the broad-based government, development is going to Nyanza. So you have to go and bow to the President to get anything. Now, people like Omtatah with stiff backs. My back is very stiff. It has got an iron rod. I cannot bow. What happens? You can't bow. It means you don't get development. I'm wired not to bow to nonsense. So, you find that that's where the problem is. You have a funeral somewhere, the President attends, or a public event, they begin making mini budgets as the President is there. We require this, we require this, we require that. And these are MPs who have made a budget that the President has disregarded because he already has the money. He doesn't need the Parliament. So you end up with an imperial president, a very, very what I would call, what's the name? Lapdog parliament. We have a lapdog parliament in Kenya. We don't have a watchdog parliament in Kenya. We have a lapdog parliament in Kenya. So that lapdog parliament has to keep on lapping at the president. And so, if we want to fix this thing, let us go back to the design of the Constitution and begin by setting up an independent treasury. Take the power of the purse away from the president. When you talk of separation of powers, there are three powers that are being separated. There's the power of the sword, there's the power of the purse, and there's the power of adjudication. The power of the sword belongs to the president. The power of the purse belongs to parliament. And the power of adjudication belongs to the judiciary. If we can go back to those basics, this country will stand on all its fours, and I tell you, Kenya will become what we dream of it whenever we sing the national anthem. If not, if we reduce ourselves to trying to manage nonsense, like I've seen people say in this room, that we need to manage the Hustler Fund well. You can't manage nonsense. Get rid of nonsense. Go back to the Constitution. A river does not flow higher than its source. Go back to the Constitution, get the institutions as they are required in the Constitution, and we'll make this country breathe. So let us look at our problems as a violation of the Constitution. If we look at the Hustler Fund as a violation of the Constitution, we shall deal with it effectively. But if we look at it as a poorly designed thing or a poorly managed thing that needs to be managed well, we miss it. And it will continue hurting us. And Article Mr. Malombe, Article 24, in Section 24 of the Public Finance Management Act and Section 11 of the same Act need the urgent action of the Human Rights Commission. If we don't protect the public finances, we are wasting time. We shall not have a country. It's money that makes things move. Let us put our money in a lock and keep the key in the pocket of a professional. Let us have an independent treasury. And all these excesses will be contained. And where there are excesses, we shall go to the National Treasury and say, why is this happening? Why is it not, how come it's not in the budget? How come there's no signature of the control of budget? How did money leave this thing? But the way things are, can you imagine at a funeral, an MP standing up and telling the president we require 200 million to fix that road? However well-intentioned, and the president stands up and says, we shall fix that road, I'll allocate 200 million, and it is not in the budget. What